Hello and welcome to the show. We are here today on Forza Horizon 4 with a little bit of a challenge. So, this one suggested by Chris, kind of based on a game that was on Top Gear that we then kind of took and tweaked it a little bit more. Essentially, this is a Peel scavenger hunt, if you like. Dotted around two locations, both the Quarry here and the kind of sort of stadium area on the Lego expansion, are going to be 5 Peels. The aim of the game is to crash into all 5 of them and get back to the finish line in each area, and your times will be added up across both. Now, the areas are vastly different. Here at the Quarry, for example, we've got dirt, we've got jumps, we've got all sorts of obstacles, whereas in the Lego area it is tarmac, it is an awful lot quicker. But to add on to that, you've also got to use the same manufacturer for both. Cars can be built to A class, but your manufacturer, you've got to use cars for a manufacturer. I'm going to be driving Mini in this particular one, something a little bit different, but your car choice is important. You're going to need something quite off-roady for this first one, something perhaps more tarmac-based. For the second one, your route is going to be important around the Quarry. I mean, you can't afford to make driving mistakes either, silly spin from me, but yeah, your route is going to be important, so there's going to be a whole load of factors. You can go for risky things like jumps off of the top of the Quarry. If you're feeling particularly brave, you might make up a lot of time, you might lose a lot of time. All sorts of things to play out in this one. We were hoping that it was going to be an interesting lot of competition, because there's so many variables for you to consider and ways to kind of change things. Up first, we have got Ewan is going to be representing Volkswagen in this one, starting with the Touareg. Now, we're doing this in winter because, well, the water is frozen, which is just another sort of obstacle. Ewan is going to fire the vehicle off to the right-hand side, heading up towards the first of the Pre's. Now, everyone will still have their map and names kind of over vehicles on, so you can have a rough idea as to where the Pre is. It's a solid hit on the first one. Now, Ewan's heading along, going to go for some speed and jump down towards the next vehicle, but it's got a little too far. That's not where the Touareg wanted to land. So across the top of this Quarry part is where one of the Peels is positioned, and the Touareg has just jumped too far. That's going to cost quite a lot of time. It could have been worse. It didn't get stuck, fall over, and waste a huge money. It could have been better though. So bops the Peel. Now there's another one in the middle of the frozen lake, and Ewan is going for the brave. Let's just go straight down the Quarry. There's one roll, and there's another roll for the boss. He's landed on his wheels. It's got going. It's I mean, if you can land that one perfectly, you can save some time. But it is a big drop. Now there's another Peel, as you can see, parts of one of the conveyor belts. It looks like that is where we are heading to next. Oh, there's a little bit of an overshoot from the Touareg. But a little bit scruffy a first run. This tries to get itself, wiggles its way up the conveyor belt, boops the Peel off the end of there. We're going to reverse back down. I'm surprised it goes for reverse rather than jump off the end and just sort of turn around, but regardless, the Touareg is back on the deck, is heading up towards the final of the Peels. Is a little bit sluggish climbing up this hill for the Touareg. There it is, hidden amongst the buildings, and now it's just a run towards the finish line. Of course, in A-Class, well, these SUVs are likely to have quite a chunk of power. Some are going to be considerably more powerful than others, so the Touareg, yeah, not quite doing so well on the climb up the hill. Here it is, a run back across the finish line. The benchmark is set at 39.4. for the Touareg. It goes in the first place as being the only vehicle that has run so far. Up next, we have got Ollie with representing the Renaults with a Clio V6. Now this is a normal car, essentially running around the Quarry. Could be at a slight disadvantage. Of course, Renault don't really have any off-roaders in Horizon 4 for you to work with, so you're going to have to go with something that is more of a road car. It's just a scrape past the first Peel in this one, going for a similar line to the Volkswagen. This time more sensibly landed, doesn't go for the top Peel, instead is diving down onto the frozen lake. It's a big slide for the car as it slides past. Now, I should point out there is sometimes a little desync with Forza in terms of collisions between vehicles, so if on the driver's screen that counts as a hit, then we count it, because Forza is sometimes a little laggy. It's a big boop and a big jump off of the top for the Clio up at the conveyor belt. So yeah, rather than the jump down was good. I'm surprised it didn't just go head up towards this top one, because it was a well landed, well positioned jump. That is not the way. We're going to carry some momentum and smack green peel on the way past. Now it's kind of a flat-out dash all the way around this top part. So the other downside, of course, with the road cars as opposed to the big trucks, they don't get the off-road kind of rally tyres that are maybe a smidge better through the thick snow. They just don't have the ground clearance getting through the thick snow either. It's given that one a good whack, although it's too much speed into the buildings through there. The Clio ends up clonking the wall. It's not the biggest loss of time through there. A couple of seconds lost. Got to try to accelerate, get it going again. It's through the trees, heading up towards the finish line. It is going to take the lead, though, at 27.3 for the Renault. We have a new leader. It has displaced that Volkswagen. Speed Beast is up next, representing the Jeeps. We've got I think a normal Cherokee is going to be here running up first. Lots of lights. That makes vehicles faster. I do believe that is how it works. Of course, this has got the big off-road tyres on the vehicle. I imagine the Touareg might actually. I'm not 100% sure. But it's certainly got plenty of ground clearance on this, and we're going in a different direction for the Jeep. It heads left off of the start line, is going towards, kind of the Trident at this first juncture. Will nudge that one. It doesn't quite go for as big a hit as it bounces its way down. A little bit of time loss. There's always going to be a little bit of time loss when you hit these landings. Nothing you can really do about it down here. We're up the conveyor belt, gives it a good boop at the end there. Jeep lands. This looking a lot more like the line that I want to take through this course. It's across the frozen lake. We're going to have a big boop and it's going to push it, and that's going to be, I think that's going to be a laggy peel. It's going to ping itself, ping itself around in and out of existence. Almost made the wrong turning down there. Almost landed on the kind of lower level of the quarry. That is not what you want. That would cost you a bunch of time. Smacks its way past the green peel. This is looking like a very, very good run for the Jeep. Now, the tricky bit on this line, you've got to get up this hill. You want to get up this hill without losing too much time if you can. A little bit overshot from the Jeep. Thankfully, these rocks are glitchy and don't really exist. You can drive through them. It's actually very well positioned. I thought it overshot a little wide. It's actually a good position to hit that final peel. And now it is the run to the finish line. Flat out for the Jeep all the way down here. Avoid the water. You don't want to hit it. Slows you down. And it is across the line. That's a good time, a 21 for the Jeep. That will go to the top. That is going to take some beating for sure. We go on to Audi next. Stevie representing the Audis in this one. Again, a fairly sensible choice with this one. No, it's not one of the big off-roaders. No, it doesn't have the fancy tyres. However, we know these RS4s are quick. We know they're good in terms of an A-class vehicle. A little bit of a downside crashing through those fences. A similar route to the one we just saw run from the Jeep. So we're off through the buildings first. Now it's going to bounce its way down here. It's perhaps not going to quite be able to carry as much speed as the Jeep. Almost overshot the conveyor belt, but it's lined up nicely now. We'll head up there, a little twitchy on the way up, but gets the peel. It does another flip once more, where I would kind of expect it to head towards the lake. It isn't. Instead, it's going to bounce its way up towards this sort of side one. And the downside with this is, you can see it's losing time. It kind of has to take these sort of like a double jump almost, and the Audi doesn't quite have the power to climb up there. It's going to go for a jump heading down. Oh, is it going to land that? Well, that's a huge jump. It's quite well landed. It's quite well landed for the Audi there. Not as much time loss as we saw with the Touareg. It chose a slightly better, slightly different point to jump off. We're going to give a big old punt to the green car. I don't think we're going to be seeing this beat the Jeep, but it's looking fairly good. It's a sensible line. Doesn't go for the jump off of the cliff face here, as it's off across the frozen lake towards the peel. It has misjudged it. The Audi is on the brakes. He's got to now try and turn around and get that one. It's easy to misjudge on the ice, of course. There is no grip. It's now just hemorrhaging time. The Audi definitely gets it on the way back past. Yeah, it's so easy. You're driving around on the gravel, on the snow, when you've got a certain amount of grip, and it's only got on that frozen lake. You go to turn and just miss it. It's unfortunate. It was looking like a fairly good run. A big chunk of time gone now for the Audi as it jumps its way across towards the finish line. Unfortunate. It's across the line at 51.2. It's fourth for now, but we're probably going to see vehicles going faster than that. Liam is up next, representing the BMWs. Of course, you've got lots of vehicles to choose from in terms of the Beamers, and we do have the SUVs as well. I mean, it's not a pretty SUV. I'm not a fan of, but should, in theory at least, be fairly good for this sort of thing. Again, we're heading off towards the left. It seems the Jeep has set the precedent, if you like, for this one. Absolutely obliterated the peel, although the BMW is going a different route now. It hasn't gone for the conveyor belt. Instead, it's going for a keep up momentum, so it's kind of barreling around the outside, bounced around a little bit awkwardly there, heading around the top, well, not quite the top of the quarry, but to the top points of the peels there. It's going to jump off. Ooh, it's going to go for a roll. It's two rolls. It lands on its wheels, though. Not too much time loss. Might now be regretting the choice of not going to avoid that jump, basically. Just go a little bit wider. You might have a slightly longer route, but less rolling is probably quite good. Can it get onto the... Oh, it's stalled, I think. BMW's having issues getting up onto the conveyor belt there. It just took a second to get it going again from there. Peel, I actually found reverse, come to think of it. It's easy to do when you're flicking through the gears on Forza. Regardless, it's struggled to get going up there. Now we've just got this bit here is one of the downsides of that line. You've got to climb up this hill, and it is time consuming. All that momentum that's gained early on, sort of kept early on by taking that sort of wider looping line, gets a little bit lost there. It's still looking pretty good though for the time for the BMW. It's now just a flat out blast. There's not too many jumps to go through here. Avoid the water much like the Jeep did. A little bit bouncy through all of that. It's across the line. It's a second place for the Beamer, just beating out that Renault. We're back with another big off-roader. Toyota is up next, driven by Longbow. We've got the Arctic trucks, Hilux, and big tyres on this. Of course, big tyres are always going to be helpful on Forza. Big tyres, probably a fair chunk of power going on in this one. Go for a slightly wider line through the houses. Somewhere in there, here we go, there's the peel you've got to aim for. Yeah, it's a little smidge wide on the way in. So we're back to, I say, a more conventional. This is the route that we've seen kind of evolve a little bit. We go for the houses first, go up the conveyor belt, next for the Hilux. Now, which way? It's a little bit steady up the conveyor belt, but gets the peel off the end, lands on the nose. Which way is it going to go? It's going for bouncing up the hillside again. I'm surprised. As prize vehicles are going, I feel like these bounces are... You see there again, it's a slightly iffy landing, and now it's really... I say it's struggling, it's losing time, having to try and climb up there. Oh, and it's slightly misjudged where the peel is. Manages to turn and grab it without losing too much. Clips it on the rock slightly. Does get going again. Looking like it's setting up for a jump down towards the top part of the Quarry. It's a lovely jump. Now, that's the jump that the Touareg wanted. That's definitely the jump the Volkswagen was hoping for. It's going to get the green peel, no problem at all. And now we've got one more turn. Actually, overshoot. Well, I say overshoots the turn a little bit. It's not too bad because you kind of just use the banking and fall down here, barrel towards the peel out on the lake. And now we've just got that run towards the finish line. It does get a little bit bumpy if you're not careful heading towards the finish line in this manner. Oh, and the truck's twisted in the air. It goes for a tumble. It's mostly pointing the right direction. It's easy enough to get it back pointing the right direction. I think it hit the fence as it was jumping, and that's what twisted it in the air. It's across the line for the Hilux. Goes into a 5th place. A little bit unlucky towards the end there. Lost a little bit of time. And at the halfway mark, here is how it is all shaping up. The Jeep has quite a nice lead. 6 seconds in the lead for Speedweeks. Ahead of that BMW. Is very close between the BMW and the Renault. Just 0.3 of a second. Ewan's Volkswagen was fast in places, but a mispositioned jump cost that. Longbow's Toyota is a fraction behind in 5th. And we have the Audi rounding out the bottom. Lost a big chunk of time, having to turn around and get the recover and get the peel on the lake. We've got my Mini lined up on the grid next for this one. I've gone for the Countryman. My theory behind this one is it gets the off-road sort of race tyres. It is perhaps smaller and a bit more agile than the big trucks. The downside of that, of course, is it can't punch through the scenery as well. So, like, the walls are going to slow it down more than they might on the likes of the Jeep. Weave our way through the buildings, find wherever the Trident is. I missed it a little bit on the turn in there. We grab it, but it's just a smidge wide through all there. We're going to bounce down the hills here, position it for the ramp. We're going to go and try and get... we're going to get the peel off here. Now, the plan is grab the handbrake and get it turned to set it up for the lake. It was very close to missing the peel at the top. It's got a little bit stuck in the ice there, which is quite unfortunate. And one of the downsides of some of the off-road vehicles they can do, but we give that a punt. And now we've got to climb up the hill here. Don't turn into the wrong point. Got to try and spot it. It's difficult, even with all of the indicators on. It's actually very difficult, very easy to miss where you're supposed to be going. But we punt that vehicle, no problem. Now it's just the climb. This is the bit that... it's a steep hill. We've got power in this, not as much power as some mind, but still 400 horsepower is pretty good. And we can carry some momentum up here just to make sure you don't overshoot. boop into the peel up at the top, and now we just have that flat out blast towards the finish line. Again, we don't really want to be going too close towards the water, although there's it's a shallow bit on the left hand side. I was trying to not get airtime as well. We kind of ran a little bit through the water, but not fully. And it's a second place for the Mini at 23.2. Not quite up there with the Jeep, but a run that I am very, very pleased with nevertheless. It's a good time. Good time for that. Pega will run it next with the Nissan, possibly the biggest vehicle we have here. In terms of length, it's definitely up there, the Titan. No glitched silly wheels in Horizon 4 anymore. I say a slight shame, but there we go. The Titan is off in a different direction. Does jump through the water, heading down here. So we're back to going right from the start line. Is the Titan going to take the jump that we kind of saw the Touareg try? It's actually slowed down a little bit for the Let's go for a more controlled approach down here. Did not work. Got caught up on the rocks, and the Titan is stuck upside down on its roof. It's going to get reset somewhere up towards the top. I'm not quite sure. There it is. It has got reset. Okay, still gets another chance at making this jump down here. It's still not super clean. It lands on the nose, goes for a flip. It has to come to a halt. Can it make... Oh, very, very nearly in trouble there. It makes the turn, but that's a big chunk of time already gone for the Nissan. Yeah, the jump... well, it wasn't really... Didn't really want to try a jump down there. I think that was the thing. It wasn't really going for the big air time. It tried to kind of coast down the hill, but the rocks are too steep. Got stuck. Goes for a tumble. It's now off to visit the houses, which is curious, very bumpy out there. That is not particularly where you... I say where you want to be. You just lose time as it bobbles around all over the area. Now we've still got two. We've still got the conveyor belt one, and we've got the frozen lake one. And this is, I say, not really ideal for the Titan. It's heading away from the finish line at this point. It punts the one off at the top. It'll turn to head towards the lake. Now, got to watch out for the vehicles getting stuck a little bit in the floor. My Mini is not the only one prone to this, and indeed the Titan does slightly, not quite as bad. It'll smack the one on the lake, and now it's going to get this turn and head towards the finish line. It is a different route attempted by the Titan. I mean, a lot of time lost early on with those rods. Now it's going to bounce its way across here. We saw the trouble the Hilux got in, actually, across this section. Got to be a little bit careful with the jump in. No such problems for the Titan. It's up across the line, but it'll go down into an 8th place. Not a great run for the Nissan. It just all fell apart at the start. We have another, I say, sensible road car running up next. Gleska is representing the Mazdas in this one. Again, of course, much like with the Renaults, there is no off-road Mazda that you can use in Horizon 4, so the MX5 is going to have to do in this. I mean, the small and light should be good for agility, but the concern is, as ever, dealing with some of the debris, some of the sort of scenery, if you will. And we go, this is the route. Let's say the route, start of the route, the same the BMW took. This is all about maintaining momentum through this first part. You'll be flat out for quite a long way around here. So hopefully you can make up some time. Now the Mazda hits the appeal at the top and goes for a slowdown. It jumps. He's trying to get... Oh, the jump's not quite worked. He's trying to go for the one in the frozen lake. I like the thinking with that, but you just lose a big chunk of time if it goes wrong, and I don't know where the Mazda's gone, actually. There it is. It's heading around the top. Doesn't try and go for the jump down once again. Where are we going to go? It is... Okay, it's heading up towards this sort of top one. It's through the ghostly rocks. Somewhere there is a peel, and indeed the Mazda manages to get that one. Spins it around, is trying to head back down towards... Oh, that's not where you want to go. Those are not ghostly rocks. The peel's fallen over as it fell down there. The Mazda got a little bit stuck, has got going again once more. Now we're heading across towards the frozen lake, much like with the Titan. It's tried something in this one, I think, to try and make some time, and it's just not quite worked. And once it starts going wrong, it is easy to end up losing that little bit more time, because this is what we had to have a change of plan halfway through the run here as it heads up the conveyor belt towards the final of the cars. It's, I mean, the time, we're already into the 1 minute 40s for the poor MX5. It's, yeah, always going to perhaps struggle a little bit in some regards around this particular course. It hasn't got the ground clearance the big trucks do. But yeah, a little bit unlucky. There was an attempt was made at a different route. It's across the line. It's a 53 for the Mazda. It just did not quite pan out. We go from an MX5 to something much bigger and much more suited to this sort of track. Lado is driving for Ford in this one. Has got the big Raptor. Going to bounce its way across. So this should have no issue with the debris. I was saying that the fence did look like it slowed it down a fair chunk, but never mind. The Ford completely clobbers the first one, runs a little bit wide, trying to get it turned down towards this next checkpoint, next whatever you want to call it, objective if you like, slides up onto the ramp. Oh, that is a grab reverse, gone down, flicked it down one too many gears. That's a little bit of time loss, nothing too bad, obliterates the peel. It's a nice jump actually from the Raptor. Now this, I would imagine, has a good chunk of power. It's going for the climb. You want to make sure you get the wheels down. It's not as bad as the Hilux in terms of losing time up there, but still, you see how it's slow. It's time being wasted. It's slow accelerating up that hill. Now it's going to go for the jump again. If it can time it right, then it's going quite a long way around to go for it. As it missed the turning, it's going for a different route down here. Oh, clips the edge, goes for a roll, goes for another roll, has come back down. It's going to need to turn around. No, that's not where it's not quite got. They've got to do a 3-point turn in the middle of the run. It's fallen away a little bit from the Raptor. Now it's stalled, trying to get going. Now it's found a gear, has got it going forward. Oh, we're going to go for the spectacular dive off of the top of the quarry. Hits the nose. Oh god. Roll over, land on your wheels and punch it. Oh, it clipped a rock in it. Oh, it's been reset. I don't know whether that would have landed. Whereas up there now, it's got to try and get back down. We're going to go for it. Try again. Tumbling. You're not going to have the momentum to get this to work, and it's being reset. That's a little bit unfortunate from Forza. Could have been. I think that was going to land on its wheels. Where has it gone? I've lost sight of it. Can anybody see a falling Raptor? Oh, there it is, in the middle of your screen. It's gone for a big jump. Hey! I think it fell off there backwards and did a roll. It's landed one way or another. Lado was committed to jumping off the side of the quarry. I admire the dedication to spectacular off-roading. It did not quite work. We were already over the 2-minute mark for the Raptor. It's now just the blast to the finish line. Yeah, I can see what was tried. It unfortunately didn't quite work, and just the time ebbed away while it was stuck trying to jump off the top of the quarry. It's a 2:15. It's going to go into 10th, and it's probably going to stay at the bottom unless something goes really wrong for the subsequent cars. Blakey is up next, driving for Lamborghini. Of course, you have a great many road cars to choose from when it comes to Lamborghini, but you do still have an off-roader. You do have the LM002. These things are pretty good. Pretty good when it comes to the old off-roading stuff. Plenty of power, a lot of weight, of course, in this, but plenty of power. We're back heading to the right-hand side. Ooh, bit of a stall though from the LM002. And it's one of the downsides of some of these vehicles. Depends on how you got the gearbox set, what engine you've got running, and so on, how much power you've got. But yeah, these sort of lower speed stuffs, if you're not sort of spamming the clutch sometimes, get them going, can have some stalling issues. Nothing too terrible though from the Lamborghini. We bumped the second one out of the way, no problem. We're going for this turn and dive down the hill. I think a sensible route. If you're going to head to the right, I feel like this is the route that's this is the route that I would personally take if I was heading in that direction. And you kind of head up the conveyor belt, knock that one off the top, and then go towards the final. No, the Lamborghini's not doing that one. The Lamborghini actually pinged off one of the other conveyor belts and got slowed down. Not quite sure whether the Lamborghini's... Okay, we're going for a different route here. It's going to bounce its way up the hill, and it's going to turn around and go back the way it came. I guess maybe it didn't want to fight around with it. I'm not sure about it. The route is being chosen by the Lamborghini. It can bounce its way down fairly well, can carry good momentum. The big off-roaders can do that. Now we carefully do it onto the conveyor belt, no problems for the Lamborghini here. Is it going to land on the peel and squish it through the floor? No, it does not. The peel gets going again. And now it's just a straightforward blast to the finish line. Slightly surprised by the Lamborghini heading up towards the houses vehicle first, if I'm honest. It's going to head towards the finish line. I mean, it was a relatively trouble-free run. It's 7th place for the Lamborghini, a 42.0 in all of that. And we have one more vehicle, the last car, the last driver, Danger Man, representing the Jaguars. It's got very foggy all of a sudden for this final run, which is not the nicest of conditions to have to deal with. I mean, the XJ, you could have had an F pace for this one, but an XJ is certainly a choice. I kind of like the car, but I've never really got on with it in Forza. However, a choice has been made in this one. It's a big hit on the first of the peels, and we're going, okay, looks like we're going for, say, a more conventional route. A little difficult judging this one here with fog hasn't been the most helpful. It's slippy and slidey all the way down here up onto the conveyor belt. It almost overcorrects it and falls off. Amazingly, no one's fallen off the conveyor belt in all of this. It nudges the one off the top. Oh, no, we're not going towards the frozen lake. We're back up towards the hill. The Jag's likely to have a good, again, going to have a good chunk of power. But it's just, I feel like these hills, they just kill this particular route because you just lose so much time having to keep climbing them. However, it is through and past. We're going to skate our way through the rocks on that one. And apparently there was contact with the peel on the way past on their end. Now we're going to. I mean, this one you're always going to hit at speed. There's no real close. I guess unless you try to do the handbrake and jump it off the edge of the quarry, but most of the time you'll hit it with speed. A more sensible route from the Jaguar, not wanting to get stuck on those jumps, falling off consistently. We're going to smack the one in the middle of the lake, and now it's just the run to the finish line. Actually looking quite a good time for the Jag here. Despite maybe that little loss trying to get up the hill. Ooh, a bit awkward across the bumps. It's not going to be a first place. We're going to be a few seconds down in all of this. But a run up towards the finish line. It's going to cross the line in 5th for the XJ. That is not too terrible at all. So here we have results from sort of part 1, round 1 of the Great Peel Scavenger Hunt. Speed Beast will lead the way with the Jeeps 21.0 for that. It's a couple of seconds quicker than my Mini. We took the same route, and I feel like that was probably the way to go around there. Just the Jeep did a little bit faster than me. Liam sits in 3rd with the BMW, a fraction ahead of Ollie's Renault. Danger Man gets the Jaguar up into 5th, ahead of the Volkswagen that I think was fast, but big mistake with the jump. Cost a good chunk of time. Longbow's Toyota sits in 7th, ahead of Blakey's Lamborghini. We saw the Audi skate past the Peel on the lake. That finds itself down in 9th, ahead of the Nissan that had some issues with falling over in 10th. The Mazda, perhaps not quite so suited to the track and having to change plan mid-run, is down in 11th, ahead of Lado's Ford that rounds out the table, that was determined to fall off the top of the quarry, and it didn't quite work according to plan, but it put on a spectacular show. So there we go, and that is going to be the end of part 1. I say stay tuned. Tomorrow there shall be part 2. We'll find out what manufacturer is going to be, or manufacturer and driver is going to be crowned victor in this fun little game mode. That though is going to be it from me. Thank you all very much for watching, and until next time, goodbye.